Alright, it's been some time since I was online. Finally gonna do the story. And what better way to start than to do the prelude? We're gonna start with the prelude and work my way up to progress 4. I'm gonna do progress 4 and then that'll be it. That'll be the halfway mark. Then, yeah. Now I'm going to do a temple at the end. Actually, since this comes with resources, yeah, I might be able to get enough for 20 pulls. So I shall do 20 pulls. Alright, let's see what the Cheng Law. That's the author. I wonder, how does the prelude start? Can I start? Really? Fuck's sake. The woman before me sat hunched over, her body almost curling in on itself. Her voice was muffled, almost indistinct. She was dressed in standard military uniform, her face hidden entirely behind her helmet. Yet, even with the armor and visor, the anxiety radiating off her was palpable. Yes, go ahead. I nodded, reaching out to press the bottom on the recorder. A sharp beep followed. The sound made her flinch. She shot me a nervous glance, then quickly lowered her head again. Truth is, the room already had built-in recording devices. Turning on a portable recorder was entirely redundant. And yet, even today, humans instinctively take what's visibly present more seriously. Using a bulky recorder and jotting notes on paper, instead of relying on unseen surveillance systems and holographic screens, these weren't nostalgic quirks. They were techniques I'd refined during my time in security. What's that? My name is Hannah Adams. I'm with the 5th Unit of the Home Military District, currently stationed near Hors. Is that how you say it? 3 days ago, it was the 22nd, early in the morning, around 7 AM. I was with my unit when we entered that area, Zone 16, I mean. There were 12 of us in total, including me. She paused to take a deep breath. You're probably aware that Zone 16 was one of the first containment zones. All the civilians were evacuated 3 years ago, and it's been a ghost town ever since. About a week ago, we received a report saying the Tijigen contamination levels in Zone 16 had dropped to a manageable range. So, headquarters sent us to assess whether reconstruction might be possible. We followed protocol, pulled up outside the containment wall, presented our IDs, and passed through the checkpoint. Once inside, we patrolled the outskirts for about 4 hours. Weather wasn't great, but everything appeared to be normal. I gave a slight nod, as part of her account matched the checkpoint's logs. After that, we proceeded along the main road toward the downtown, just as planned. That's when things started to feel off. She wrapped her arms around herself as if trying to suppress a shiver. It was close to noon, but a thick fog suddenly rolled in, even with all 3 patrol vehicles as fog lights on. We could barely see the road ahead. We had no choice but to slow down. We kept driving for about an hour, but it felt like the road stretched on endlessly through the fog. By then, some of the others contacted the captain over the comms for instructions. Eventually, the captain ordered us to turn back. We started retracing our route. We moved much faster this time, but even after another hour, we were still stuck in that dense fog. You were lost? No, that's impossible. We never left the main road, and there were no turnoffs anyway. The compass never wavered. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small military-issued compass, setting it on the table. The needle held steady, pointing true to the south as usual. South. That'd be north. When that happened, didn't you try contacting headquarters? The captain tried right away, but we couldn't get through. A satellite map wouldn't load either. As for why, I'll get to that shortly. With no other choice, we decided to get out of the vehicles and check the surroundings. We thought if we could find any landmarks nearby, we might figure out where we were. The captain and I got out, flashlights in hand, and started scanning the area ahead. That's when I saw it. Something I'll never be able to forget. It was a massive pale form in the fog, sprawled across the road like some kind of eerie collapsed statue. My fingers tightened around my gun. There was no mistaking it. It was a Titan's body. I don't know whether to call it luck or misfortune, but we were only a few dozen meters away. If we hadn't stopped, we'd have plowed right into it. The Titan lay completely still, and yet not a single one of us dared to make a sound. It was enormous, way bigger than any Titan I'd ever seen beyond Containment Zone LF. We scrambled back to the vehicles, turned around in a frenzy, desperately trying to find another route. But in the thick fog, 3 cars soon drifted apart. I could only remember the weight pressing down on me. Her voice faltered and her broken account dissolved into quiet, shuddering sobs. By the end, I finally woke up. I found myself on the outskirts of the city. The fog had lifted, but the car was empty. Everyone else was gone. I was the only one left. I glanced at the terminal in my hand. The military report stated she'd been found roughly 1 kilometer from the containment zone checkpoint. And the rest of your unit? Any idea what happened to them? I don't know. Everything after seeing that Titan is a complete blur. I see. Thank you for your cooperation. Driscoll will provide the best medical and psychological care until you've fully recovered. Thank you. Thank you so much. I shook my head slightly as I stood and walked out of the interrogation room. Blinking as my eyes adjusted to the brighter lights outside, I spotted Enya in the hallway, waving at me with a warm smile. Sorry to keep you waiting. It took longer than I expected. It's okay, Adjutant. You must be exhausted after being in there for so long. Now, open wide. Here comes the airplane. What? A warm cookie found its way into my mouth. The familiar taste was unmistakable. Had to be Enya's handiwork. Yum. Side shoot, I recounted what I'd heard in the interrogation room. Enya listened intently, her expression shifting from confusion to a slight frown. What do you make of it? There's really a large Titan in Zone 16. A single containment wall there wouldn't stand a chance. The first priority should be evacuating the nearby civilians. Just as I expected, her first concern is the safety of the people. Once the area is cleared, we can invoke our agreement with the military to have them hand over control of Zone 16 to us. Heimdall can handle the Titan. What's with that grin? Did I say something wrong? Before I could respond, another cookie was slipped into my mouth. I couldn't help but chuckle as I pulled Enya into my arms. Oh my god, man. Come on. Why am I still surprised at this point? Letting my chin rest on top of her head. You're absolutely right, but there's something you should know. On the 22nd, Yggdrasil had drones patrolling Zone 16. Wait, what? Although the drones didn't record her unit's movements in Zone 16, the footage we do have shows no Titans or fog that day. And the Tichogen contamination levels were notably low. By all accounts, there shouldn't be any Titans there. There shouldn't have been any Titans there. So, are you saying it's all just a hallucination? It's more complicated than that. Whether the Titan was real or not, one fact remains. She's the only one from that unit who made it out alive. There's something dangerous lurking in Zone 16. The military knows it's a serious threat, and that's why they're dumping it on us. In any case, we have to check it out. Zone 16 is too close to Containment Zone LF. If this escalates, it could end up affecting both zones. We need to get there ASAP. My words trailed off abruptly. What's wrong? Her hand softly brushed against my cheek. It's nothing. Can't stop wondering, why was she the only one who survived? Something about the whole story didn't sit right. This feeling had been gnawing at me ever since I stepped into the interrogation room. But given the soldier's mental state, pressing for answers would have been pointless. My hand instinctively moved to rub my temples, but before I could, Enya's fingers found their way there, her gentle touch working its soothing magic. Soft pressure from her fingertips melted away the fog, clouding my mind. Whatever schemes are in play, whatever danger lies ahead, I'll protect you, Adjutant. And besides, I've grown strong enough to handle it. Shoot. Her unwavering determination rang through her final words. Right. Trapper or not, we'll face it together. Really now. Alright. Progress 1. Shrouded in fog, the giraffe and the art of vending machine repair. Okay, bro. That's what I'm talking about. It's 7 AM, partly cloudy, visibility is clear. This is Adjutant Andro from Heimdall. We've entered Zone 16 through the southern checkpoint, and I'm currently with Enya and Marion. We're on the periphery of Zone 16 now. Pterogen contamination is low, and there are no signs of Titans or changed in sight. Over and out. I scanned the surroundings briefly and confirmed there were no signs of abnormal activity. Then I switched off my terminal and saved the log. When I looked up, I noticed Marion staring at me. Her cheeks faintly flushed, as if she was lost in thought. Should have allocated resources. ... Marion, is something on your mind?
没什么，只是觉得分析员认真起来的样子，果然很有魅力呢。
It's been a while since I've had to make such formal log entries. I don't really need this instrument anymore to detect Titans or Pterogen. 2 days earlier, a 12-person military team had entered Containment Zone 16, the same area we're currently inspecting. By the end of it, 11 were missing, and only 1 survived, rescued by the company. From the survivor's account, we learned that a strange fog covered Zone 16, and there might have been large Titans active in the area. However, recent drone footage showed no signs of fog or Titans. To uncover what happened to the military team, Enya, Marion, and I chose to investigate Zone 16 ourselves. From the very start, there was an eerie aura surrounding the whole thing. It was clear. This was going to be a tough and thankless job. Fortunately, we had enough prep time before heading into Zone 16. Over the couple days leading up to the mission, I've been running through all possible scenarios and setting up contingencies. Choosing the right operatives for the mission was a key part of that preparation. Enya and Marion were both experienced fighters, able to adapt to surprises in the field. In a city shrouded in mystery, their quick thinking would be crucial. I glanced back at the armored vehicle behind me. Enya was inside. Just then, as if she sensed my gaze, the vehicle hatch suddenly slid open. Moments later, Enya nimbly jumped out of the car.
飞行员，小茉莉安，让你们久等了。
Shit. As always, she greeted us with a radiant smile and that warm, soothing voice of hers. The only difference today was the brand new exosuit she was wearing.
蓝风的材质要比羽蜕轻便一些，胸口总算没那么紧了。
Oh, I bet. Looks great on you.
是吗？分析员喜欢就好。
Oh my... The soundtrack! It's like a remixed version of Azure Paradise. She took a few steps closer and winked at me. Just as I was about to start the mission briefing, her tender voice drifted teasingly into my ear again.
应该说，分析员都已经移不开眼睛了呢。
You're making it hard. Nope. Shouldn't say it like that. She slipped behind me, leaning in close. The gentle contour of her body pressed against my back. The soft pressure of her chest. A sensation that was hard to ignore.
好了，要安排任务的话，可要专心一些。
On the field, man. I mean, I don't blame you, but damn. I knew she was doing it on purpose. Fortunately, I was composed enough to withstand this level of temptation. With practical ease, I shifted my attention back to the map in my hands. As planned, we'll start by investigating the periphery of the city. The military team spent 4 hours here. I expect we'll wrap it up in 2. Though they didn't find anything unusual in the periphery, we can't take any chances. It's best we retrace their steps.
12个人的小队，装备齐全，训练充分，也有足够多的隔离区内战斗经验。结果只有1个人活下来，而且受到了极度的惊吓，到现在还在接受心理治疗。那个士兵还提到了城市中存在大范围的误区，以及大型泰坦活动的痕迹。
Marion spoke as she scanned the area ahead, her gaze steady and calm. She'd been doing this since we got out of the vehicle.
但就目前的情况来说，16区里不应该有泰坦才对。
She has no reason to lie.
我知道。
Anya circled around this to stand in front of me, smiling warmly as she met my gaze.
就是因为这样，我们才会来到这里。
I gave a slight nod and gazed into the distance. Let's go. Now at least we don't need to be on edge. It's like the military soldiers' account, the periphery zone of Zone 16 was eerily quiet. In this deserted city, only faint traces of Tizigen residue remained. There were even birds occasionally flying by. For 2 manifestations, this environment should have been much safer than the containment zone. And of course, safer with me alongside them. Sure, man. At the moment, both Anya and Marion were holding onto my arms, one on each side, eagerly discussing what to make for dinner. Jeez. The situation's been made light now.
前菜就做一道冷切，然后可以上罗森来式浓汤。
Maybe.
这样的话，姐姐就准备甜点好了。上次做的饼干，分析员好像很喜欢呢。
You two seem to be on the same page when it comes to food choices. I swear I wasn't thinking of Cherno's favorite strawberry fish balls when they made that comment. Sure, man.
因为不管其他菜品怎么选择，今晚的主菜都只会是分析员哦。
God. I'll never stop, don't you? Can't argue with that. Done with you. 2 hours passed quickly as we investigated the outskirts, and we soon found ourselves back at the starting point.
分析员，这是沿途的泰坦物质浓度记录。
Anya handed me the terminal. The graph was steady and smooth, with no major fluctuations, no sign of any significant Tizigen energy sources nearby. That shit working? Just want to make sure. Good. Everything looks perfectly normal, which in itself is strange. I raised an eyebrow, glancing at Anya and Marion.
是的，16区毕竟是前隔离区，在外围城区检测不到任何泰坦物质能量波动，也很奇怪。就像是有人特意处理过这里，将泰坦物质的痕迹都抹掉了。
Looks like we'll have to head into the main district after all. At that point, we were back in the armored vehicle. I took the wheel, Anya kept watch, jotting down the data of our surroundings as we went, while Marion stood ground with her gun ready.
能见度正常，泰坦物质浓度在正常范围内，无泰坦出现迹象。
With that, she leaned over, casting a quick glance at me.
分析员也一切正常。
Wow. I reached out and gave Anya's cheek a playful pinch before turning my attention to Marion, who was focused on the vehicle's navigation screen. She seemed to be murmuring quietly to herself. Something wrong with the route?
不，我没事，只是有一种不太舒服的感觉。
I reached out and took her hand. Her fingers were icy cold, and I could feel a slight dampness on her palm. Marion's instincts were almost always spot on. Like her, I couldn't shake a growing sense of unease myself.
奇怪的雾真的会出现吗？
I shrugged non-committally. Given the current weather, there was no reason to expect normal fog to roll in anytime soon. But I considered another possibility. What if the fog doesn't form gradually, but instead materializes at all at... Before I could finish, something caught my attention. A blur creeping across the armored vehicle's windshield. What's the word for a white blur that blocks your vision? Fog? That brief lapse in focus actually cleared my head. My fingers were already reaching for the vehicle's fog lights, but it took me a moment to realize anything was off. My mind recoiled instinctively, resisting what my eyes were showing me. It was that hesitation that made me realize something. It wasn't a slow build-up. Fog appeared in the blink of an eye, swallowing us all at once. I turned to Anya and Marion, but neither of them seemed to notice anything wrong. They just looked at me with confused expressions.
分析员，怎么了吗？
I silently pointed ahead. It wasn't until then that both of them gasped in shock.
啊，不可能！我明明一直看着窗外。
It's not your fault, but something's off. We need to stop immediately. Without hesitation, I slammed my foot on the brakes, slowing the vehicle down. Remember that yellow fog we saw near the 5th Research Institute? It appeared the same way in specific spots, without warning.
那时候的雾，其实是特殊的信息泰坦物质。
Yeah, the situation here feels eerily familiar to what we encountered near the 5th Research Institute. But I took a glance at my Cora system. Neither this precision instrument nor I detected any Tijigen in the area.
分析员的意思是，这是另一种信息态吗？
It's one possibility I considered. I mean, the survivor's description of the fog appearing out of the blue, couldn't find a way out, matches the pattern perfectly. I double-clicked the vehicle's navigation screen to mark our location, then brought the vehicle to a complete stop. Let's get out and find shelter. Most of the buildings here had their doors wide open. Fortunately, the walls kept at least most of the fog outside. We grabbed our weapons and brought the portable comm station we prepped earlier, then made our way into a deserted shopping mall without any trouble. How's the signal? I turned to look at Anya and Marion, who were busy setting up the comm station. Their expressions grim.
通讯信号很差，虽然能够发送出去，但没办法确定能不能收到公司的回信。
连功率这么大的通讯基站都不行的话，其他通讯器就更不可能了。
Looks like we've managed to recreate the military team's situation precisely. Close my eyes and lean my head back. Not necessarily a bad thing. Let's rest here for a bit and keep an eye on the outside. A sudden noise jolted my eyes open. Anya and Marion instinctively gripped my arms tight. same sound came again, but now faster, more urgent.
这是有人在踢什么？
I nodded, listening closely. The sound seemed to be coming from the street just outside, about 15 meters away from us.
这里怎么会有人？
Let's go check it out. Just like before, I took Anya's hand in my left and Marian's in my right. The three of us cautiously stepped into the fog. The kicking noise continued as we neared, like a sharp, grating drumbeat. Oddly enough, as we got closer, I noticed the fog beginning to thin. By the time we were only a few meters away, the fog had completely cleared, revealing the source of the noise. It's a giraffe! The figure ahead had their backs to us, focused entirely on what they were doing, spinning sideways to deliver a fierce kick. Straight at a poor, unsuspecting vending machine. With another thud, the vending machine took the hit hard, swaying violently. A can of soda tumbled from the shelf, clinking as it fell into the retrieval slab below. Only then did I notice the ground around the machine, neatly lined with colorful cans of soda. Clearly the spoils of the earlier kicks. Under normal circumstances, I might have just shrugged it off and thought it was the work of some overactive kid with too much time on their hands. But in this desolate containment zone, where no civilians should be, the scene felt disturbingly out of place. To mention, I wasn't sure if the figure in front of us was even human. The three of us stood in stunned silence, watching. It wasn't until the figure turned around, 2 cans of soda in hand, that our eyes finally met. In the living fucking... Take that shit off. No, I didn't think those were really their eyes. What are you doing?
那个
What'd you say? What'd you say? Oh, you said ni hao. Okay. The figure spoke, but their voice didn't come from the head. Rather, it seemed to come from somewhere around the neck.
地上的那些都是我的，你们要是也想要，就自己去贴。
My carefully prepared words vanished in an instant, leaving me utterly speechless.
分析员，我
You know what? Might as well, Enya. Might as well. Enya hesitated, casting a brief glance at me. She seemed to be debating whether to draw her gun, but I gave a subtle shake of my head. To our shock, the figure in front of us leaped backward at the sound of Enya's voice. The cans of soda slipped from their hands, rolling away into the fog, their clinking fading into the distance.
你们是人类啊！
Aren't you human too? This time it wasn't just me, Enya and Marian also stared in astonishment. Leaving aside the fact that none of us looked particularly non-human, the real question was, why was she so surprised to see humans? She seemed like she'd be calmer if she'd met 3 ghosts. Wait a sec.
等等，看你们的打扮，你们是世界树的人。
Yes. Amid the figure's fragmented words and strange behavior, one sentence finally made sense to me. My mind slowly began to regain its focus.
哦，那就说得通了。我还在想，明明都戴了头套，怎么还能看到怪物呢？
Take that shit off. I want to see. Who are you? What are you doing? As the figure spoke, they placed a hand on her neck, straightening their head above the shoulders. It wasn't until then that I could finally be sure. It wasn't some half-human, half-beast creature, but a girl in a bizarre giraffe head mask. The fact that she was here, in a containment zone with military checkpoints, raised more than a few red flags. Tell us your name, your identity, and why you're here.
我当然只是个遵纪守法的好公民。
This isn't exactly the place for a casual stroll, miss.
我知道，那16区是军方的地盘，你们世界树在这里可没有盘问别人的权利，就算你是那个大名鼎鼎的分析员也一样。
Too much fame certainly has its downsides. I hadn't even introduced myself, and she already knew exactly who I was. Through the aisles of her giraffe head mask, I could see her wide, sparkling brown eyes, scanning me. What? No, you can't. What? No, you can't. I can't argue with that, but it only applies to people who came here by legitimate means. My eyes fixed on her collar. The distinctive emblem on her trench coat stood out. Yeah, I was wondering about that. And I recognized it instantly. I never got to do that fucking event. Fuck. Back on Yalu Island, I met a girl named Auntie, whose coat also bore that exact emblem. So I could be absolutely certain that. You're a student from the Academia Acropolis, aren't you? As far as I know, your school doesn't have permission to enter in Zone 16. Surely you don't want your dean to find out about your little unauthorized visit, do you? Oh, got her. Got her. So I suggest we share some intel first. After all, collaborating with Yggdrasil definitely sounds a lot better than sneaking around. Am I right?
分析员真是坏心眼。
It's only fair, Enya. Enya tilted her head slightly, whispering quickly into my ear. I discreetly scratched the palm of her hand in response. When I looked back at the giraffe girl, the aggressive confrontational energy she had earlier had already subsided.
那个分析员哥哥，
What'd you say? Huh? A sweet, syrupy voice suddenly came from beneath her head mask. What?
你误会了，人家是不小心迷路到这里的，对这雾和怪物什么的都一无所知。分析员哥哥就看在我这么可爱的份上，饶过我这一次。
This ain't no fucking fairy tale. Nothing comes for free, lady. Before she could finish, I darted toward I darted forward and firmly gripped her right hand, which she had hidden behind her back. Just as I suspected, she was holding a small smoke grenade. Of course, had it been anything worse than a smoke grenade, Marion would have likely shot through her arm before I even had a chance to act. Looks like you're still not fully aware of your place right now.
了解了，现在了解了。我叫丽琪，19岁，身高162，体重48，喜欢长颈鹿和胡萝卜，没有挂科记录，也没有烟酒等不良嗜好，目前就读于卫生学院高等部。
What the hell are you doing here then? The fuck? After firing off her introduction, Lizzie dramatically bent over to catch her breath. The giraffe head mask wobbling in front of my eyes with her movement. Take that shit off. I want to see what you look like. Save it. You know what I want to know? You know what I want to know? Why are you here?
这个涉及到我的毕业论文，讲起来好麻烦。总之，我进入这里有半个月左右的时间啦。
Half a month? That's much longer than I expected. 2 days ago, a military team passed through here on their way into the city center. Didn't you see them?
那当然啦，想在这种地方看到其他人可不容易。
Did she mean it was hard to see through the thick fog? As if sensing my confusion, Lizzie raised a finger, shaking it playfully.
我明白了，我果然还是得和你们解释一下这地方最大的问题。你知道吗？长颈鹿和其他哺乳动物一样，都只有7块肩骨，但成年长颈鹿的脖子有足足2.4米长。
I've After throwing that random fun fact about giraffes out there, Lizzie paused, staring at me with her arms akimbo. Okay, what's your point?
这句话就是一个魔音。
魔音？
Like those funny pictures online?
知识、新闻、口号，甚至是谣言，只要是能够传播的信息，无论是真是假，都是魔音。
That word has been construed into something else.
就像刚才的那句话，虽然你不知道这是真的，还是只是我随口编造的谎话，那句话都已经给你留下了印象。之后的一段时间里，每当有人提起长颈鹿，你大概都会想起我说的话，这就是魔音带来的影响。
You know, I guess it can be the same thing as what we recognize as memes.
强烈的意愿或是笃定的话语，这样的魔音就更加强大，能够快速传播，甚至造成意想不到的影响。
Sure. Why not? Why not?
可是，这和16区有什么关系？
Let me check again. My voice work? Yes, it is. It's working just fine. Great.
简单来说，这个隔离区里存在着一个大型魔音集合体，就叫它魔音16区好了。魔音16区和真正的16区叠加在了一起，互相影响，所以这地方才变得这么邪门儿。
So you're saying some things in the city don't actually exist as physical entities, but are medic ones? Just projections of information planted in our minds?
就是这个意思。你很懂嘛，分析员阁下。
As soon as Lizzie started talking about something she knew well, her voice lightened noticeably, almost sounding cheerful.
难道说，这个雾其实就是？
I nodded. Enya had clearly made the connection too. The strange fog in Zone 16 could only be seen by those within the zone, and therefore couldn't be captured by the patrolling drones. This matched Lizzie's theory perfectly.
真的有人能做到这种事情吗？
我不知道什么人能做到这种事情，不过为什么要这样做，倒是很明显。不应该存在的东西，是为了掩盖本应存在于这里的东西。口说无凭，还是请分析员阁下亲自来看看吧。
Without warning, she adjusted her head mask, lifting it from her shoulders. Just as I was wondering what the face under the strange giraffe head looked like, I was taken aback. There was another identical head mask hidden beneath it.
你怎么一副很失望的表情？快戴上看看吧。
How you fit two giraffe heads? With a mischievous grin, she shoved the head mask toward me, trying to force it onto my head. Before I could react, Enya stepped in, snatching it away and shooting Lizzie a sharp look.
丽姬小姐，请不要乱来。
Oh. Okay. Lizzie seemed to take the hint, shrugging and stepping back. Enya turned to me and I gave a small nod. She then gently placed the head mask on my head. After a moment of darkness, I felt my way to the observation holes in the head mask, the light slowly filtering in. What unfolded before my eyes made me question if any of it was even real. The thick fog that had shrouded the city vanished in an instant. Once the veil was lifted, everything hidden within the fog became painfully clear. Just a few dozen meters away, swarms of changed and smaller titans moved steadily, completely indifferent to our presence. Instead of wandering aimlessly, they were advancing in formation toward the city center. And in the distance, at the city center, several colossal Hela-class titans loomed. Their immense forms, gazing down on the buildings that seemed to shrink beneath them. Even back in containment zone LF, such a sight was incredibly rare. that moment, my dulled senses snapped back into sharp clarity. The thick scent of Titigen rushed through me all at once, making me furrow my brow. Yet, despite the heavy Titigen contamination, my core system remained silent.
从我进入16区开始，就看到这些泰坦不断出现在16区中，而在魔音的伪装下，外面的人却无法发现他们的痕迹。
Lizzie's voice rang softly in my ears through the giraffe head mask.
我眼见他们朝着城市中心聚集，却又像蒸发了一样从这里消失，连逸散的能量都感觉不到。分析员，你觉得这意味着什么？
Let's put aside what a Titan gathering might mean for now. I signaled to Anya and Marion, and they immediately readied their weapons. We have a more pressing matter to deal with. After I put on the head mask, I noticed something that Lizzie, who had been able to see through the fog all along, should have noticed long ago.
我可没有你们天启者那么敏锐的观察力，就算有，那不是有你在吗？没什么好担心的。
You little shit, I'd kick the hell out. With that, Lizzie deftly slipped behind me, shielding herself with my body. In the next moment, a roar erupted from the dense fog. Action time. What the hell kind of still was that? Let's do this shit. And it's free! Story mode is free. Wait. Is this even... No, it isn't. It's an event story. Oh. It's an event story. That's why it's free. Damn. Well, alright then. Perfect. Exactly what... If only the adjutant were here. Nope. It's okay. It's all good. Let's see. Them. I remember this place with Haru's story.
有这浓雾在，实在很难瞄准，而敌人似乎能够看清我。不过，不公平的战斗
Damn,
倒
man.
是更有意思一些。我本想避免这种事，就想阻挡我们。时间差不多了，如果能有其
Oh
他
my
解
god,
决
you
方式，
can
该多好。
take him out? That quickly? Damn.
是哪个粗心小朋友弄丢的呢？原地休息一会儿吧。
Can I not jump over? Damn! Come on now. Come on. Come on, you guys. Come on.
勇敢一点，站好，别动。
I'm still not used to her gameplay yet. I kind of my body kind of forgot about it.
两位，开枪的时候可当心点。
怎么了？
刚看了一眼，都忘了我还躲在这儿呢。
Jeez. Oh my god, Anya. Oh my god, you're practically... Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Sick,
哪个
man.
粗心小朋友弄丢的呢？要小心哦！
My god. It's hardly...
原地休息一会儿吧。
I was focusing on the gameplay, but I realized just now. Fuck's sake.
站好，别动。
Oh,
我本想避免这种事，
how far? Oh, not far. Jeez. Really? I don't believe it.
站好，别动。
You said strong
有没有
enemy.
其他解决方式该多好。
Just died.
结束了，我们一起平安离开这里。
Great. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. Part 2. Let's see what we got here.
原地休息。这些敌人的样子很奇怪。分析员，你有什么头绪吗？去调查一下那个光团是吗？我明白了，莫莉安，我们往这边突围出去。
Oh, look at this place. Oh, I could just jump. Silly me, I forgot. I forgot you can jump.
勇敢一点。要起风了哦。
Damn. Come here.
我本想避免这种事。
I wonder, will I have enough to get your SIG? And you? Oh my goodness, the physics are amazing. But, I don't know if I want to renew the monthly thing. I don't know if I want to do that. I might though, I might end up doing that. Maybe. I'll probably do it tomorrow. Maybe or maybe not, don't know. Indecisive. I'm quite indecisive right now. Come on.
原地休息一会儿吧。 勇敢一点。我本想避免这种事。
站好，别动。
Oh my goodness. My goodness, you do. I have yet to see. I need to see how well you do in the PL. If I get you. Oh, okay. There we go.
别担心，我不会被这些意识动摇。
Jeez. And last patch went by so quickly. Edge of the world. A world with just the two of us. Just the two of us.
分析员，敌人的数量好像越来越多了。
After several rounds of gunfire, Anya sensed the anomaly. Anya and Marian weren't wearing the giraffe head masks, so they couldn't see what was happening. They could only fire based on my directions. But I saw it clearly, just moments ago. One of the chains had been shot and nearly torn apart by the impact. It was still wriggling on the ground. In the span of a few breaths, its body began to heal. Flesh and bone reformed, broken limbs regenerated, and soon it rose to its feet. Again. This wasn't an isolated incident. Each of these enemies was like that. It's not that more are coming. They just keep reviving.
复活？难不成这些敌人也是魔音影响下产生的假象吗？
Faced with enemies that refused to stay dead, Anya and Marian moved closer to me, waiting for my next orders. Piss break. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Oh, I can still see them even while wearing Lizzie's giraffe mask. It can't be illusions. As I spoke, I pulled the trigger, taking down the nearest one. In other words, it must be something else that's being affected by the memes. Okay, it's working, okay, looks good. Excellent. If there was anything special about these enemies compared to those outside Zone 16, it was the strange, multicolored glow on their heads. Anya, changed at 12 o'clock, about 5-6. Aim for the head. As I gave the order, Anya raised her gun. 2 shotgun blasts rang out, piercing the target's head before it fell flat on its back. As it fell, I clearly saw a beam of colorful light come from the distance, entering the changed's body. In the blink of an eye, its head quickly healed. The eerie glow returned. Alright, let's push toward 1 o'clock.
明白。
While Enya and Marian cleared the way ahead, I pulled off my giraffe head mask and turned to hand it to Lizzie, who was leaning casually against cover sipping her soda. My lips twitched with an amusement at the sight, twisting her arm and soda can into her giraffe head mask, raising the soda can from within it.
摘了头套的话，你又会被雾气挡住视线的。
True, but it's hard to move around with this thing on. I spoke as I walked closer to Lizzie, swiftly grabbing the back of her collar. So for now, you'll have to be our eyes.
喂，我和你们这些铁打的身体不一样，吃到子弹可是会。
I didn't mean to scare her, but if I keep blathering on, the enemy would close in on us. Without giving her a chance to react, I yanked her from behind cover while shielding her with my body, pulling us both toward the path ahead. Aside from their ability to revive, these changed weren't anything special. With our combined firepower, we quickly tore a hole through their encirclement. Lizzie, panting behind me, struggled to keep up, but thankfully she kept calling out directions, helping us navigate through the fog. Before long, we reached the source of the light. There before us was a strange, glowing, swirling vortex of light hovering within the fog.
就是这个吗？
I think so. It's the same colors we saw on those enemies' heads. As we approached, we could finally see it more clearly. The swirling light vortex had dozens of faint beams extending from it, each one connected to one of the chains we had just fought.
那个光团在给那些敌人提供能量。
Marian murmured, glancing at me, silently asking if we should fire at it. All off on firing for now. This light vortex doesn't seem to have a physical form. But if it's some kind of energy form, then I can probably...
分析员，
Before I could act, Anya and Marian suddenly grabbed my hands from either side at the same time.
分析员，你是不是想像吸收泰坦物质那样，吸收这个光团？
That's the idea.
可我们还没有确定那东西到底是什么。如果是敌人故意留下的陷阱，你直接吸收它会很危险。我也是一样的看法。如果一定要做这样的事情，请先让我来。
You girls. I sighed and scratched my head, then glanced over at Lizzie, who was still catching her breath.
按理来说，这东西只是魔音聚合体，应该不会。
But before she could finish, the friendly stare from Enya and Marian made her immediately swallow the rest of her words.
我觉得两位女士的意见也很有道理。
Wow. Somewhat unexpectedly, I couldn't rely on her help for convincing them. I cleared my throat and turned my attention back to Enya and Marian. I know you're worried about me, but I've done this kind of thing many times before. If anyone should do this, it has to be me. And I'm not going to absorb it all at once. Rather than eliminating it completely, I'm actually curious to find out if I can get some intel about Zone 16 from it, like I do with Tijin. After giving them my reasons, I turned to Enya and Marian, gently taking their hands so they could hold onto my arms. Let me try first. If anything goes wrong, you can pull me away. With that reassurance, their worry seemed to ease. They gripped my arms and stepped back, allowing me to face the light vortex. I stretched my hand toward it, my heart racing slightly, concentrating like it would when absorbing Tijin. Almost immediately, a trickle of energy flowed toward me, like a fish darting through water, slipping into my body through my fingertips. This energy felt distinctively different from Tizijin. There was no sensation of stifling heaviness. In fact, I could barely feel its presence at all. Even so, I immediately cut off my connection to the light vortex and then began breaking down the small amounts of energy that had entered my body. In that instant, as the energy were converted into information, I thought I heard a faint, distant cry. If my senses weren't so keen, I probably wouldn't have been able to make out the cry at all. Help? Someone was calling for help? I concentrated, trying to glean more from that voice, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't make out anything more. Half a minute later, I opened my eyes and let out a slow breath.
怎么样？有什么不对劲的地方吗？
Enya's gaze was full of concern, and I gently patted her hand to reassure her. Everything's fine. I could reach the information contained in the energy. It's like someone is crying out for help. There we go. God damn it. It's just a fragment of the message. Not entirely sure, but it does sound like a cry for help. One thing I can be sure of is that this light vortex isn't made of Tichijin. The energy it contains is much weaker.
当然啦，因为那东西是魔音嘛。
After watching me absorb the energy from the light vortex, Lizzie seemed more intrigued by what was going on. But according to your theory, the meme should carry a lot more information, yet I didn't get anything useful from the light vortex.
这个嘛，
Lizzie tilted her head and circled around me, as if studying me, but failed to notice anything unusual. Having gotten used to her pattern of being reliable one minute and scatterbrained the next, I simply shrugged. Just as I was about to continue investigating the light vortex, Arian suddenly raised her gun and aimed behind us.
分析员，之前的敌人靠过来了。
She was right. Even with the thick fog obstructing my view, I could hear the sound of chaotic footsteps drawing nearer.
啊，看起来比之前的数量还多。
分析员，既然没办法确定那个光团是否安全，现在还是先行撤退比较好。
Right. It's not necessary to engage the enemy right now. Just as I was considering retreating, I heard the cry for help again. A thought crossed my mind. If we retreat now, I might miss the chance to get important intel. Hold on. I want to try absorbing more energy from the light vortex.
可是，恩雅姐，这次就相信分析员的判断吧。
Arya nodded at me. I turned to look at Enya, giving her hand a gentle squeeze to reassure her. Aryan, please buy me some time. As soon as I spoke, Marian raised her gun, ready to defend against any enemies that might emerge from the fog. Enya, I need you to keep an eye out for any that slip through Marian's defense, and I grabbed her hand tightly again. If anything goes wrong, pull me away as fast as you can.
我明白了，我一定会保护好分析员的。
那我呢？我呢？
You stay safe and don't get hit by any stray bullets. There were enough spots to take cover, and for this eccentric character who had already managed to survive in Zone 16 for over half a month, staying safe shouldn't be a problem. Ignoring Lizzie's loud yelps as she frantically searched for cover, I turned my attention back to the light and reached out. As my mind focused, the energy flowed into me, no longer a trickle but a rushing surge, flooding my consciousness. Good. It felt like just before. No change in the energy itself. Even so, I still created a mental barrier with my consciousness, isolating myself from the overwhelming torrent of information. the physical world, I was rapidly breaking down the relentless energy, watching as the light vortex shrank, disappearing completely in less than half a minute. At the same time, the roars of the monsters in the fog suddenly stopped. It seemed that without the light vortex channeling energy into the surroundings, creatures had finally fallen. I let out a sigh of relief and turned to look at Enya, who was still holding onto my arm. Enya, we need to.
分析员，
Enya's eyes widened in panic as she stared at me. I suddenly realized that the words I just spewed were nothing more than jumbled nonsense. I... 'In that moment, a familiar scene unfolded before my eyes. Burning cities, weeping civilians, and towering titans. Just like before the first descent in Containment Zone 11. I could feel that this was a descent that had struck Zone 16. It turned out the energy I had absorbed was what you would call a Philosian horse. How do you say it? Philosian horse. Seemingly harmless on the outside, but carrying a startling amount of information within. Even more overwhelming than the data stored within a Tizgen tree. The screams and cries of thousands of civilians flooded my mind in an instant. Despair and fear hit me so forcefully that I instinctively gasped for air. Thankfully, my earlier precautions kept my mind from being completely consumed by the onslaught of emotion. With the fragments of clarity I still had, I fought to regain control over my body.
分析员，醒醒！不行，必须把分析员带到安全的地方。
As I heard Enya's voice calling my name, a surreal feeling washed over me. Her voice along with her face seemed to flash before me, like images imprinted on film quickly rolling alongside everything that had happened today. The only way out, I realized, was to hit the pause button on my consciousness. The world around me gradually lost its color. Amidst the splitting headache, I closed my eyes. When I opened them again, I found myself standing, unharmed. The dizziness and pain vanished in an instant, as though they had never existed. But the land beneath my feet was clearly not Zone 16. Instead of the familiar cityscape, I was surrounded by barren rock with a cloud of yellow sand in the distance. A sandstorm on its way. For some reason, I found myself standing in front of a log cabin, completely out of place in the middle of this desert. My right hand was raised, as if I had been preparing to knock on the door. Knock lightly on the door. With a sense of hesitation, I knocked on the door, but no one answered. To my surprise, the door creaked open a little at my touch. It wasn't locked, just slightly ajar. An odd premonition settled in my mind. Someone was waiting for me inside, and they were the one who brought me here. I wasn't one to hesitate in the face of danger, so I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The side of the cabin was a sharp contrast to the barren desert outside. It was clean, cozy even. On the coffee table in the living room were 2 steaming cups of tea, clearly freshly poured. I was right. Someone was in this house. As I stood there thinking, I suddenly heard footsteps descending from upstairs. I looked up, and to my shock, I saw... Enya? Still stunned, I barely had time to react before she threw herself in my arms, burying her face in my chest. The familiar scent of her hair failing my senses.
欢迎回家，亲爱的。
She whispered softly in my ear, her tone both gentle and playful. Home. Her words cleared from the fog in my mind, and in that instant I understood why I was here. My head felt heavy, as if filled with lead. Before I knew it, I fell backward. Ugh. Warmth against my face cut through my skin and straight into my consciousness, jolting my sluggish mind awake. Instinctively, I reached up to my face, but instead, I grabbed a soft hand.
你醒了吗？
Wow. Come on, MC, man. Come on. Come on. It was a familiar voice. Yeah.
我在啊。
She turned her hand over to take mine and began gently stroking my hair with the other.
这几天累坏了吧？刚到家就睡过去了。
How long was I out? I lifted my head slightly, meeting her eyes, which had a mesmerizing amethyst gleam.
大概半个小时吧。真是的，为了给我找个烤箱，离家了这么久，我可担心你了。
Oven. Right. I did leave home to look for one. As her words sank in, a sudden series of thoughts and memories appeared in my mind, filling the blanks leading up to the current situation. When we first arrived, Enya and I worked together to build this small wooden cabin, piece by piece. Over the next 2 years, we scavenged everything we needed to make it a home. The books on the table were a collection of poetry from a Kuru poet of the last century, found among the belongings of a refugee who hadn't made it. Every night, Enya would read me a short poem before bed. Most of the furniture came from a ruined town about 25 kilometers away. We'd burned through all the Jeep's fuel to bring it back. As for the electrical appliances, we did manage to find a few, but the solar panels here could barely power the lights. The rest of the appliances had been left gathering dust. On clear nights, we'd sit on the nearby hillside, gazing at the stars. Without the light or air pollution, the night sky here was always breathtakingly beautiful. Just 2 days ago, Enya had mentioned wanting to bake cookies, so I ventured back to the long deserted city, hoping to get lucky and find some kind of oven, but came back empty-handed. Without a doubt, everything in this cabin was a testament to the life Enya and I had built together. Each piece held a memory of the time we had spent here.
好了，先起来吧，我得去准备今天的午饭。
Enya gently ruffled my hair, and I leaned into her embrace for a moment, nuzzling against her chest. A peaceful, warm, and blissful routine. This was the life we had been dreaming of. I watched her walk into the kitchen, pick vegetables and fruits from the basket, wash them, and cut them into small pieces. There was just one question. Enya. I closed my eyes, gently calling out her name. Enya, busy at the stove, turned and looked at me.
怎么了？
Can you tell me what exactly is this place?
这里当然是我们的家呀。
Her smile remained as sweet as it had always been. I fell silent for a moment, slowly shook my head. What is this place that our home exists in?
在
A safe place, right? I gave the answer before she could respond. She froze for a moment, and slowly nodded in agreement. I knew it. There was no way she could have realized.
不行，必须把分析员带到安全的地方。
All she wanted at that moment was to take me to a safe place. Such a simple wish, and under the influence of the mimetic energy I'd absorbed, she had inadvertently created a world out of thin air. No fucking way, man. What? Reality can be what I want it to be. Really? Come on. A world where everything, even the memories we shared here, were fabricated. It was literally a world just for the two of us. Everything here, down to the smallest detail, was fabricated by the information planted in my mind by the memes. The only things that truly existed in the physical world were us. With that realization, leaving this place no longer seemed like a challenge. What? I looked back at Enya, who was still gazing at me, waiting for my response. A twinge of hesitation tugged at me. I could distinguish between reality and illusion, so living here would not be difficult for me. But for Enya, it would mean risking her to deny all her memories, even her very existence here. No, that would be cruel to her. There has to be another way. Enya, would you like to go out and take a walk after lunch?
要去哪里呀？
Let's head northwest and see what's out there. In my memories of this world, Anya and I had nearly explored every part of this desert, but the northwest was the one direction we had never ventured. Maybe there, we would find the edge of this world.
可以哦，只要亲爱的想去，我们去哪里都好。
Enya agreed without hesitation, but I saw a trace of doubt in her eyes, which wasn't unexpected. Subconsciously, she must have known that once we left, the peaceful life we'd built here would be over. But even so, I had to take her away from here. Not to erase the memories we'd made, but to create new ones. Better ones. Shit! Yeah, it's time to get out of Fantasyland now. Story. Okay. Oh, no. It's action time. It's action time. Oh, it's just you. Memes. Shit's a meme. I don't think this.
这辆车子应该已经无法启动了。嗯，亲爱的，你说有办法为它充能？我明白了，这样的话我也来帮忙。
Okay. Oh.
小一点，要起风了。
Everything dies too fucking quickly.
我本想避免这种事。就想阻挡我们。
Jeez. It's too easy. Oh.
站好，别动！我本想避免这种事。
Easy, baby, easy. Damn it. Oh. Should have took care of myself before I started this. Gah! You didn't hear that. Nobody heard that.
站好，别动！我本想避免这种事。
Okay. Well, I literally have no. Oh.
要起风了。
Oh, what was that?
能有其他解决
That was kind of.
该多好。
Let me say that again. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I need to. I've been having some slight issues with my PC. New PC. I need to allocate my resources properly. Like having these games use the GPU instead of the CPU. I need to tweak those settings a little.
勇敢一点。
Get fucked. Very nice. Cool.
别担心，我不会被这些意识动摇。
There's hardly anything on. My God. Damn it, Enya. Damn it. All right. Escort.
动起来了，好厉害！不过，要到荒漠深处的话，应该还需要更多能源。在此之前，就先把不怀好意的敌人解决掉吧，可不能让这些家伙破坏了我们的旅行。也差不多了。
Oh, now he's a little beefier.
该多好。
Even so, her E has a second form, yeah. A second, more powerful form. Jeez. Glad you're a DPS now. I'm still waiting for the day that Mauser becomes a DPS. Still waiting. That'll be a long ass time though. Oh, it'd be really cool if she does be a DPS.
马上就好了。我本想避免的。
Damn it.
休想阻挡我们！
Keep it moving. Gotcha. Jeez. Yeah, they hardly had any resources to make for this update. No new map, no nothing. Actually, there is a new map. There is. It's for the boss. Oh. It's just been a while since I played. I had some things to do the weekend. What am I doing? Was I playing another game? I was actually taking my time to get some sleep and recover from those late night escapades I be doing. Like, that wizardry video took me a while. Oh, no. It wasn't that video. It was something else. It was another video I did. God. Jeez. I felt like the weekend was a blur there. For some reason. Like I can hardly remember anything that I did. Come on. Gotcha. What did I do? I'm trying to remember. Damn, I really forgot. I don't remember. All I remember is being tired. Oh well. But yeah. At least I finally got around to do this. Oh, of course. The views. Oh, nice spot. With the kraken behind in the sky. Alright. I was supposed to do this in the weekend, but I just didn't get around to it. A red herring. Refocusing on what matters. Beautiful. Our armored vehicle finally reached the edge of the desert. There was nothing particularly remarkable about this place. Just endless yellow sand stretching as far as the eye could see. But Enya and I fell silent. We both knew this was the end of this world. I pressed the gas pedal to the floor, and the armored vehicle sped silently across the desert, closing in on the edge within a minute. I turned slightly, gently covering Enya's eyes with my hands, and closed my own as well.
亲爱的。
Enya was surprised by my actions. Her voice soft but curious. Don't worry, it'll be over soon.
我不是害怕，我只是在想，
She grabbed my hand, her voice carrying an odd, almost unexplainable calm. God, the syntactic.
你在做不确定的
So
事情
weird.
时，总是会闭上眼睛。但我想，不需要抗拒这里的一切，我们应该也可以出去。
What do you... Before I could ask more, the vehicle crossed the boundary, and everything around us was suddenly engulfed in a bright light. When I opened my eyes again, we were no longer in the armored vehicle. The familiar sight of crumbling buildings, empty streets, and destroyed cars reappeared before us. Evidently, we had returned to Zone 16. I immediately turned to Enya. Now that we were back in the real world, our memories should have been restored.
我刚才，那是
As I expected, her eyes widened in disbelief as she looked around, extending her hands and staring at them for a while. Her expression mirrored mine when I recalled my illusory memories back in the cabin. Hold her. It's okay. It's all over now. I held her tightly in my embrace, gently patting her back to soothe her. I could feel her trembling form slowly begin to calm down. We had a really long dream. Everything in that dream was fabricated by the memes in Zone 16. Although I suspected that Enya's desperate desire to protect me also played a part in creating the illusion, but I didn't voice this conjecture.
我们从来没有一起去过什么荒漠，也没有自己建起木屋，是吗？
Oh, Enya, we gotta look like that. And a cabin in the desert. That's the first I've ever heard of such a thing. Cabin in the desert. What?
那些只不过是我自己的幻想。
Just think. Vidya lives these on a daily basis. But Anya, your fantasies did save me from danger. I lowered my head, gently cupping her face in my hands. If it weren't for you, the mimetic chaos in my mind might have destroyed my consciousness entirely. Enya remained silent, clenching her fists. Just as I began to worry, she suddenly raised her hand and began to vigorously rub her own face. It was a surprisingly adorable gesture, something Enya, always the mature one, rarely did. I couldn't help but smile at the sight of it.
我还要保护分析员，必须要打起精神来。
Giving herself a little pep talk, she scanned our surroundings.
我能感觉到这里的泰坦物质浓度很高，所以我们应该比之前更靠近16区的中心。
With that, she leaned in and began feeling around my body. What are you looking for?
通讯终端，我的应该是弄丢了。
Wow. I fished my terminal from my pocket and handed it to her. She swiftly tapped the screen a few times, then shook her head.
不行，这里果然还是没办法发出通讯。当务之急是尽快撤离到城市外围，在通讯不会受到干扰的地方，与莫莉安取得联系。
Yeah, where is she? And where's that little shit, too?
现在没有时间留给我自责。
As she spoke, traces of tears still lingered in her eyes. Oh, come on. But it didn't diminish the resolve in her gaze one bit. Right. By holding back to spare Enya's feelings, I had underestimated her. I had always known that Enya Murphy, oh, that's her last name, was never one to quit in the face of setbacks. But I also understood that that didn't mean she didn't need someone to take care of her. She had just grown used to hiding her wounds from others, even from herself. Looking at the delicate hand she reached out to me, I immediately took it and pulled her into my arms with even more determination. Let's go, Enya.
出发吧，分析员。
That being said, making our way to the periphery of the city wasn't going to be easy. The city center was in ruins, and in the maze of steel and concrete, we could barely find our bearings. At this point, all we could do was take it slow and focus on each step. With that in mind, Enya and I chose a relatively wide road and set off.
分析员，我在想一件事情。
Is it about the memes in Zone 16?
是的，分析员应该也很在意吧。我们从进入这里之后，一直被这所谓的魔音牵着鼻子走，但归根结底，我们对魔音还一无所知。
True. Most of what we know about the memes comes from Lizzie. She always gives off this unstable vibe. Speaking of her, I wonder where she is now.
丽琪很熟悉16区，我们在和她分开时，附近也没有敌人了，她应该不会有事。我是在担心，如果在我们前进时又出现了其他魔音的影响，让我们和那支军方小队一样迷失方向，那就糟糕了。所以我想要了解更多关于魔音的事情。如果能找到抵抗魔音， 甚至是能够反过来利用魔音帮助我们的办法，就更好了。
Use the memes. Enya's plan seemed even bolder than I had anticipated.
不过，现在应该也没有调查魔音的机会了。
Actually, we do. If we really want to. I stopped and pointed to my head. Some of the mimetic energy I absorbed from that light vortex still lingers in my mind.
怎么会？分析员，你现在有没有感觉哪里不舒服？
I'm fine. Most of the energy has already been consumed, and what's left is too weak to affect me. And now I should be able to release it. It was lame. It was something I had been considering to do for a while. This could be the best shot we had to dig into the memes, but it might also be very risky. After all, we didn't know the possible consequences. The question now is, what could we do with these memes? From the look on Enya's face, she seemed to already have an idea.
我在想，魔音本身就是信息的话，分析员能试着改变意识中的那些魔音吗？
I was thinking the same. You want me to mark them, right?
就是这样。
In modern biology, when researchers study wild animals, they often capture some, attach trackers to them, and then release them back into their habitat to observe their movements and behavior. What we were planning to do was quite similar. Enya wanted me to mark the memes and then release them. Since memes tend to spread on their own, we could track them and follow their path to find a way out of the city. It's a brilliant idea. What kind of information do you think we should mark on them?
就选择光吧，在魔音中加入光这个信息，这样的话，我们很容易就能看到。
Right. Let's do this. I shut my eyes and focused on the remaining memes in my mind. I imagined a bright light and whispered the word light several times before channeling the memes out of my consciousness. The mimetic energy flowed smoothly through my fingers, streaming outward once again. Remnants of the memes in my mind were faint, and it only took a few seconds for them to dissipate completely. I opened my eyes. To my surprise, nothing seemed to have changed. And yet, do you sense anything unusual?
没有，目前没有。
What's with that? Enya scanned the area, still expectant, but failed to find any trace of change.
光应该是很明显的信息才对，但怎么会？
She looked like she was about to climb onto the nearest rooftop to get a better view. I gently held her shoulders to stop her, a helpless laugh escaping me. It's alright. It wasn't exactly a foolproof plan, so it's absolutely normal that it doesn't work. Let's just look for guide spots or something. It might take a bit of time, though. Before I could finish, Enya suddenly tensed up. I followed her gaze. She was staring intently at the street in front of us, but I didn't see anything unusual. Then she raised an arm and pointed at a street light on the corner. It was daytime, yet at some point we weren't looking, that street light had turned on.
分析员，我绝对不会看错的。那个路灯闪烁的频率，那分明和我们一起看过的那颗最亮的星星一样。
Vivid memories surged back to me in an instant. In the desert on the hillside near the cabin, I had pointed out a star to Enya, again and again on countless nights. Though I knew it was a fabricated memory, in this moment I could still feel it, just as vividly as before. The star that once illuminated the night sky now lit the path ahead for us. We exchanged a meaningful glance, then ran toward the streetlight. After flickering for a while, the streetlight's glow began to fade, just as another light far off in the distance flickered to life. One by one, the streetlights guided our way, leading us forward. As we followed them, the buildings ahead began to look familiar. In the distance, the containment wall of Zone 16 came into view. We should be able to get through Marian now.
快试试吧。
I pulled out my terminal and called Marian. The connection indicator spun rapidly. Enya and I both stared at the holographic screen, waiting. About a minute later, the terminal suddenly emitted a sound. Connection successful.
分析员，
Comm signal was still weak, but at least we'd managed to get through. Marian, where are you? You okay? Are you hurt? Are you hurt?
我没问题，魔音没有影响到我，我在找你们。
You weren't affected by the memes? She has no fantasy. The situation had escalated so quickly earlier that I had assumed both Marian and Lizzie were affected, just like I was.
强烈的情感冲击或是疼痛，可以抵抗魔音。
Are you talking, Before I could finish, a frantic cry from Marian suddenly broke through the comms.
分析员，我看到你们就在市中心。
What? The city center? She meant Enya and I were in the city center? But we were clearly on the periphery of the city. There wasn't even any fog here. Wait. Fog? My heart suddenly began to race. It wasn't that there was no fog here. It was that we hadn't seen any since we left the desert. Enya and I had been so caught up discussing the means that we hadn't even realized we were already under their influence. We had completely forgotten about the fog, which meant we'd lost our bearings and misjudged where we were. Damn it, I should have seen this coming. We'd already seen how strange the fog was when we first entered Zone 16.
分析员小心！
In that split second, I dropped my guard, just as Enya suddenly tackled me to the ground. A moment later, a massive chunk of stone came crashing down where I had been standing. And that was only the beginning. The buildings around us all began to shudder before collapsing, sending debris crashing down like a meteor shower.
我现在就去。
Over the radio, Marian's voice grew fainter, nearly drowned out by the howling wind. No, Marian, listen. No, Marian, listen to me. Don't come anywhere near this place. I didn't have time to think about whether my words were getting through. I just screamed into the comms with all my might. You need to find the mastermind behind this. Use the process of elimination. Remember, process of elimination. The next moment, I stuffed the terminal back into my pocket and grabbed Enya's outstretched hand. While I was talking to Marian, Enya had activated her exosuit and began shielding me from the relentless barrage of flying debris. Oh, I hadn't seen this before. Cool. We ran frantically through the rubble. but as far as I could see, the entire city had plunged into an apocalyptic nightmare. There was no shelter, nowhere to hide.
分析员，这些攻击真的只是魔音所造成的假象吗？
No, I can feel it. There's real energy in them. Looks like our enemy's finally getting serious.
那我们现在应该怎么做？
The situation had already spiraled beyond my predictions, but my mind was still racing, trying to piece something together. Over the comms, I didn't hear any sounds of debris attacks breaking out on Marian's side, meaning the attacks must be limited in range. If we keep heading in one direction, we should... Just then, I suddenly halted and grabbed Enya, who was a step behind me. Right in front of us, barely 3 meters away, yawned a bottomless chasm. Had we stopped a second later, we would have plunged straight in. But the falling debris gave us no time to stop. A massive boulder hurtled toward Enya's back, and I had no choice but to turn us around and take the hit for her. Ugh. The rock itself didn't cause much damage, but the energy within it surged into my body on impact, forcing me backwards, straight into the abyss. Thud. I had felt Enya's hand tighten around my arm. But it didn't slow the fall. In the blink of an eye, we had tumbled into the bottom of the darkness together. Oh shit. You guys fell into that chasm. Okay. The long fall? Floating? Alright. Let's see. Fucking neck, man. Damn. Oh? Oh, it's this place. What the... Underwater? Okay.
这里是什么地方？分析员在哪儿？分析员，分析员！看来不在这附近，只能先前进了。分析员，一定要平安无事。要起风了！
What? What is this? Oh, that was the timer for the waves. Silly me. I thought I failed the mission for a second.
时间差不多了。
哈。
勇敢一点，站好，别动。
You piece of shit. God. Nope.
休想阻挡我们！我本想避免这件事。
Oh, really now? Really? Jeez. Okay.
站好，别动。
Very nice. What is this place?
勇敢一点。要起风了！乖乖蹲下吧，原地休息一下。
There we go. What? Come here.
要起风了！没事，不用担心我。
Strong enemy, my ass! They just die instantly.
别担心，我不会被这些意识动摇。
My god. Ah. Can't get enough of her victory pose. Loading. It had been okay. Good. 50 minutes. This is 2 hours. Damn. 2 hours. Come on, Enya. Let's do this. Let's finish this.
勇敢一点，站好，别动。我本想避免这种事。这里的敌人和最初遇到的一样，击倒他们之后，仍然会不断复生。奇怪，但这里并没有能量源之类的东西。别怕，我在的。 看起来，前方就是出口了，但是还是没有找到分析员。难道是我遗漏了什么地方吗？我本想避免这种事。勇敢一点。
Get fucked. Oh. What's going on?
原地休息一会吧。
Damn, you're hardly working. I just can't emphasize it enough. God damn, she rocking.
如果能有其他解决方式，该多好。
Nice.
别担心，我不会被这些意识动摇。
Need to relax. God damn, I need to fucking relax. Shadowed fantasy, obsession in the name of protection. Beautiful. The Valkyrie games? Flames. Everywhere, endless flames. Massive Valkyrie games venue once bordering the city center was now completely engulfed in fire. I stood before it, searing heat lashing against my face as the wind carried tiny embers, igniting even more of the city. I knew I wasn't really there. I had just fallen into the abyss with Enya. Even though my eyes told me I was in containment zone LF, this couldn't have been reality. Yet it was all too overwhelming. I couldn't just detach myself and observe. Because back in 2057, when the descent devastated the Valkyrie Games venue, it was exactly like this. Back then I had rushed into the venue, leading the security team to rescue as many civilians as we could. They were only a fraction of the victims. Countless others perished in the flames. I remembered vividly the many civilians still stranded in the center of the venue at the end of the rescue operation. They had already been corrupted by Titijin. There was no way they could survive. If we had tried to save them, it would have only led to further Titijin contamination. The decision makers made their choice without hesitation. But for me, for the other rescuers, and for those civilians, that decision changed everything. I closed my eyes amid the raging flames. Panting. As the last enemy fell, Enya was nearly spent. She's not. She slowed her pace, but her gaze remained locked on the path ahead. At the end of the road, a beam of light streamed down through an opening, as if promising a way out.
但是，如果分析员在这里的话，他一定会说，越是明显的信息，越可能有诈。
She repeated that thought in her mind. She suddenly turned to look behind her. blurry figure appeared before Enya. The moment it noticed her gaze, it froze, standing still like a shadow. Silently, Enya tightened her grip on her gun. At that moment, the figure shuddered slightly. Then faintly, she thought she heard a voice. No, she didn't exactly hear the voice. It was as if the words appeared on an invisible screen before Enya's eyes. Like subtitles. Oh, really? Like subtitles? Yeah. Yeah.
我是海姆达尔小队的成员，恩雅莫尔菲。海姆达尔。
The voice fell silent for a long moment, as though trying to process the meaning of the word.
那个，我也想知道，你是？我们是16区。16区？你是16区的市民吗？不是单一的个体，也不只是人类，我们就是整个16区的意识。
That sucks. Damn. That fucking sucks. Enya's eyes widened in disbelief.
为什么？一座城市为什么会诞生意识？我们不知道。从诞生开始，我们就不停吞噬着城市中的信息，而这只让痛苦不断增加。我们见到的那些光团，还有城市中出现的雾和其他异象，和你们有关系吗？那些都是城市的一部分。进入城市的人也会成为这里的一部分。
Enya immediately grew wary, but the figure made no further move.
我们什么都不会做的，我们只是想保护这座城市。把外面来的人困在这里，就是你们保护城市的方法吗？浸染了痛苦的人，离开这里，反而会无法活下去。
As the figure spoke, a light vortex slowly unfolded before Enya's eyes. At its center, a face began to emerge.
分析员。
Instinctively, Enya clenched her fist. Inside the light vortex, Andro's face twisted in agony, large beads of sweat rolling down his forehead.
你应该能够听到他的声音。他刚才为了救你，先一步投身于痛苦之中。他为那些承受着泰坦灾难的人感到悲伤。他为那些草菅人命的人感到愤怒。
Baby. Fuck. Damn, I haven't seen you in a while. Fuck. Damn.
他还会想起每一个
Aw.
他没有救下的人。
It's unfortunate.
无论是谁，心中都会有阴影存在。他很独特，也很强大。他吸收过我们的意识。如果是普通人，不可能承受得住这种程度的痛苦和绝望。但也到此为止了。被困在如此多的痛苦之中，没有人可以救得了他。
The voice trailed off. The next moment, Enya stepped forward resolutely, reaching toward the light vortex that held Andro's tormented face.
痛苦吗？让我来看看吧。
The moment her head moved closer, a small flame ignited before her eyes, making her instinctively step back. But instead of consuming her, the fire flickered and expanded, slowly bathing the surroundings in its glow. When she opened her eyes again, She was home. January 19th, 2048. Today was a special day for the little girl. She had finished her homework from the AI tutor ahead of time and immediately ran into the kitchen. Though only 7 years old, she was already quite skilled at making desserts. Standing on a small stool, she deftly mixed eggs and flour on the countertop, carefully pouring the batter into the cake mold. She placed it in the oven, then began preparing the cream and fruit while waiting. By the time evening arrived, a perfectly decorated strawberry cake sat proudly on the dining table. She stuck candles into the cake. Seeing that it was already 9 p.m. on the terminal display, she let out a small sigh of relief. Right on time, as expected, the familiar sound of footsteps echoed from outside the door. The girl quickly jumped off the chair and ran toward the door. Just as she reached for the knob, it swung open from the outside. A woman in a white lab coat stood there, looking exhausted. But the moment she saw the girl, her face lit up with a warm smile.
Anya.
The woman scooped Enya up in her arms, nuzzling her cheek affectionately. Only when Enya began giggling from the ticklish sensation did she finally set her down.
恩雅今天有没有很乖啊？
很乖，老师布置的作业我都做完了，还自己做了。没什么。妈妈今天过得怎么样？
妈妈今天也很厉害哦，给3位病人做了手术，等会儿还要。
She paused for a moment, hesitating. When she saw Enya's expectant eyes, she continued.
恩雅，妈妈待会儿就要去耶洛莎了。
啊，今天吗？
是呀，那里发生了很不好的事情，妈妈需要去帮助那些人。
我知道的，因为妈妈是无骨界医生。
是无国界医生啦。
Enya nodded, still not fully understanding, but she knew that every time her mother came home, she had new stories about helping people in need.
好了，先让妈妈进去吧，妈妈还要准备一下行李。
妈妈，你先等一下。
Suddenly remembering something, little Enya quickly ran back to the dining table and hid the cake in the fridge. She decided to celebrate her birthday after her mother came back from Yaharas. She didn't want to distract her before she left. With that thought, for the first time, Enya learned how to set aside her own desires. When her mother finished packing and was ready to leave with her suitcase, Enya, as always, walked her to the door. The door closed gently, and the sound of footsteps gradually faded. Too thoughtful for her age, Enya lowered her head in silence, curling up on the floor, facing the door. But just then, the footsteps that had vanished suddenly returned. Before Enya could wipe the tears from her face, the door swung open again.
是舍不得妈妈走吗？
The woman lovingly scooped Enya into her arms and led her back inside. Then, as if performing a magic trick, she pulled a giant stuffed bear from the wardrobe. Aww, how sweet.
你看我真是的，明明早就准备好了生日礼物，却差点忘记给恩雅了。
Oh.
妈妈，没有忘记我的生日吗？
Tears she had been holding back burst forth, and at last, the little girl drooped all pretense, sobbing into her mother's embrace.
妈妈是绝对不会忘记恩雅的生日的。而且呀，总有一天你也会遇到重要的人，那个人也一定会记住你的生日和喜好的。
Wait a minute. The dad. The scene of past memories froze. Little Enya stood before the birthday cake, now placed back on the dining table. The flickering candlelight cast a soft, warm glow.
没错，
我从小就是生活在关心和爱之中。相比海姆达尔里的许多人，以及这个世界上的许多人，我都是更加幸福，没有经历过痛苦的幸运儿。
That is really lucky, Enya. Yeah, I feel you there.
母亲告诉我，正是因为这样，才应该去帮助、去保护那些不幸的人。我便是抱着这样的信念，才战斗到了今天。
In the blink of an eye, Enya felt her consciousness yanked away, and suddenly she was back underground. The light vortex, the one that had shown Andrew's image, was gone.
我成功了吗？怎么会？
The power of love, baby!
你明明接触到我们，为什么你没有感觉到痛苦？我不明白你的意思。如果你是说悲伤、愤怒与痛苦的记忆，那我当然也有。尤其是那一次，我差一点就失去了分析员的时候。
I haven't done that story. God. Ah, I'm so lame. I haven't done this. Damn it. As Enya spoke, the underground cavern began to tremble.
但是，正因为有这些记忆的存在，我才会更加坚定要保护其他人的决心。我没有经历过你们的痛苦，也无法替你们去原谅任何人。但我很清楚，把所有人都困在这里，不能解决任何问题。这样的做法，根本就不是保护。
In an instant, the cavern walls burst apart, sending shards of rock flying as beams of light pierced through the darkness.
你还不明白吗？就算你救了那个男人，但你自己已经彻底困在了这里，是吗？
Upon hearing this, Enya's gaze remained steady, unwavering.
你不了解分析员，而我不仅了解他，也100%相信他。我和你保证，他会来到这里的。
The consciousness of Zone 16 fell silent, but the next moment a relentless barrage of debris, crackling with energy, came surging toward Enya. Her exosuit activated instantly, unleashing a violent storm in response. A battle of wind against stone erupted at the heart of Zone 16. At the same time, I opened my eyes. Oh my you.
啊，你先别乱动。
Right in front of me stood a figure with a giraffe's head. Had I not grown used to Lizzie's habit of surprise appearances, I might have thought I was still dreaming. At that moment, I found myself standing face to face with her, perfectly still on the side of the street. My limbs felt stiff, as though I had been holding this position for far too long. Sketchbook in hand, Lizzie was completely absorbed in her artistic creation, using me as a model. As for where she got the sketchbook and pencil, I had no idea. I glanced at the page, and to my surprise, it actually looked pretty good.
配合一下嘛，我马上就画完了。不过没想到你竟然是站着睡觉的，温熙元，你比我还像长颈鹿呢。不过，其实长颈鹿也是会躺下睡觉的哦，就比如。
Lizzie's joke did nothing to ease my tension. It felt like I just woken from a long dream, but I couldn't recall a single detail. Flames, sacrifice, death. These vague memories still haunted me, but for some reason my heart felt shielded, protected from the weight of those emotions. Thankfully, my memories weren't impaired. I still remembered how, before I blacked out, I had absorbed the energy blast to protect Enya. Who could she be? Lizzie, where are we?
好问题。如果把你我的相遇定义成一条线段的话，那这里应该是原点。
She meant we were back at the vending machine. Have you seen Enya?
没有，不过另一个倒是路过了这里，在半小时前。他让我告诉你，他已经排除了一半的区域了。
Shit. Alright. Lizzie's words put me at ease. It seemed Marion had heard my instructions and was carrying them out smoothly.
我说啊，你把他们都问了个遍，怎么不关心我呢？
Shit.
你们个个身怀绝技，但像我这样弱不禁风的女孩子，从那么多怪物包围中逃脱，可是费了好一番功夫呢。
Come on, you've practically made Zone 16 your home now. Is there really anything here that could hurt you? I raised my head and looked toward the center of the city. Shrouded in thick fog, the entire city felt eerily quiet. I frowned, then suddenly reached out, pulled Lizzie's giraffe head mask off, put it on myself. Instantly, the fog around me vanished, and the silence shattered. Explosions and tremors roared to life, echoing from the city center. Just as I expected, Enya was still in there. I turned, tossed the head mask back to Lizzie, and started toward the city center. But before I could take another step, Lizzie suddenly grabbed my arm.
没有危险。
Her tone was no longer playful, but uncharacteristically calm.
我能感觉到16区里的魔音都被吸引到了城市中心区。现在的情况与过去都有所不同，魔音中的16区与现实的16区经相互影响，贸然前进的话，很可能困在里面。你一定要去的话，就把头套戴上。自己都看不清方向的人是没办法拯救别人的。
This is the real you, isn't it? I picked up the soda that had rolled to the side and placed it into the hand Lizzie still had on my arm. Thanks for the heads up. But actually, not wearing the head mask is exactly how y'all see the way ahead. Just as you said, the mimetic world is merging with reality. The person I'm looking for is at the intersection. She's likely the cause of it. To find her, I just need to see both worlds at once. Not just one or the other. And I want to share a little meme with you. It's a saying from Philosia.
什么？
Fate whispers to the warrior, you cannot withstand the storm. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm. I am vengeance. Okay, great. Wow. Amazing. I'm at the half weight. 24 divided by 2, 12. I went way ahead. That's okay. This is my halfway mark. Shit. Alright. I'm gonna do the second half tomorrow, but... Before I do... Damn. The story was very calm, actually. It was very... what do you say? That's really the only thing I can think of. Calm. Nothing, nothing explosive, like outwardly explosive happened. Like very calm. But yeah, cool. I can't wait to see how the boss manifests or shows itself. Oh look, 1800, perfect. 20 pulls then. It shall be 20 pulls. Oh, she did the daily. And yeah, perfect. 20 pulls. Let's do this shit. Alright, let's go for... Yeah, let's do this one first, and then if I get her weapon. Alright, cool. Okay, oh wait! Will I be able... Yeah, will I be able to get a free box? I hope I get out of these Marion. Yeah. Hopefully. Alright, but let's see. Let's see what I get. Okay. Who is it? I hope it's Cherno. 1. Oh.
有什么要探索的话，就让我猫希尔来吧。
Great. Well, extra manifestation to decompose. Cool. One more. I will. Excellent. All right. All right then. All right then. Jeez. Expect too much. Come on. Nope. Oh, okay, okay.
签名要签在哪儿？
Be cool to have you at M6. M5. M5. Cool. You actually arrived. 2 pulls in. Oh, look! 1 box! A box! Okay, cool. You arrived 2 pulls in. Okay, this should be the 10th one. This should be, yeah, the 10th one. Since every 10 you get a 4 or higher. Let's see. I lied. Oh my god. I lied. I must be seeing things. Jeez, something's wrong with me. I'm losing it. Wait, did the box? It comes in automatically, okay. I keep forgetting it. Excellent. Who shall it be? Okay. But first, let's do this. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Ah, damn it. Not much. Let's decompose, in case I ever forget. Oh, that's right. 6. Okay, 6 pulls. Where's the decompose thing again? It's just... Damn it. Alright. Jarno, where are you? There you are. 10. God, that's not even... Fuck's sake. Oh. I had extras lying around. I did. Almost there. Almost there. Once you're maxed out, I'm gonna fucking level you up at some point. Nita's coming first. She's coming first soon. Okay, let's open that box. And then that's it. Let's see who I get. Who shall I get out of this? Better be Marion. Come on. I'm not mad at all. Actually, I was low-key expecting her too. Low-key. Trust me on that. Low-key. Okay. I really need her signature now. I need your signature now. Scorching Sun Awakening can be used under Solar Flare state to reload the weapon. Solar Storm, Scorching Sun bullets. I don't get it. I still need... I need her signature so I can level her up and use her properly. Oh, look at that. M1 already. You're already M1, and you haven't been leveled up at all. I need your signature. I'm gonna make good use of you. Damn it. Yeah, it's a cool. Cool. I'd like to use you. I just need your signature. How much farther am I on the 21? Not even close. I'm only at 5 too. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't waste. Ooh! I could have did 10, another 10 tonight, if I wanted. Unless. Yeah, because fuck it, right? Why not? Why the fuck not, baby? Let's see.
和我想的一样呢。
Would you look at that? I can do another 10. How many of this do I have now? 5? Yeah. Perfect. I'm just gonna do 5. Perfect. Excellent. Now I'll be at 62. Okay, baby. Let's see. Will you come home soon? Or will I have to really go up to 100? Always.
莫莉安，安
哦
迪奥蒂，向您问好。
Will you finally be M5? I hope so. Okay, that's 1, 2. Damn it! Where's the other one?
海姆达尔部队士兵，
Already
列夫贝斯特拉，报道。
maxed out to the brim already. And you got your new outfit. Jeez. Ah. Get it soon. I'll get you soon, don't worry. 62 out of 100. There's still 35 days. You know what? I am not sure if I'm able to get her signature. Unless if I activate the monthly thing. Which I will do tomorrow. Which I'm likely to do. It's odd. I'm pulling for you, and yet I already have a splendid kinetic DPS. The question is, once I get Enya, what if the next operative is a DPS that I need? Like, a Frost DPS. Because I don't have her signature. Or... You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. I'll just pull anyway. No way. I'm short 10? Damn! Increases chaos damage dealt to target by 20% when Mario is within 15 meters. It's a small, nice plus. Would be nice. Where's the decomposition? Okay, there it is. And journo. Nice. Excellent. That's another one. Okay. How many more? Okay, 30 more until the second to last, and I don't know how much that's gonna be. Jeez. Oh, it's gonna be 30. The last one's gonna be 30. Wow, I need 60 more. Or actually 59 more. To max you out. Just 59 more. Oh, cool. Might get that soon. Huh. So that's really all I can do. For now. Oh, would you look at that, Enya? 62 out of 100. That's a shit fuck ton of pulls again! It's always like that. I never get someone early in the one guaranteed banner. I have more luck with the signature. Nah, not that. I'm done with the 50-50. Ooh, but I kind of want Yao's signature now. Damn. In due time. It'll be a long while, and plus I'm short resources. But alright, that was the first half of Blossoms in Ruins. Alright, I'm gonna do the second half tomorrow. It's gonna be interesting. So right now it's... God, it's about to be... It's 4 minutes until 4 a.m. As usual, it's fucking late as hell. So, good night to everyone, and good night to me.